There is a car sitting in a locked, climate-controlled garage right now that cost more than a Bugatti, a Ferrari, and a Lamborghini combined. Not one of each. Roughly 10 of them. It is not the fastest car ever built. It is not even close. It has a top speed a hot hatchback would laugh at, and yet only 3 of them exist on the entire planet, and the people who own them will almost certainly never sell. That car is a Rolls-Royce, and to understand how one company builds a starter model that costs the same as a nice house, then climbs all the way up to a $30 million machine with a boot that opens like a butterfly and chills your champagne, you need to understand the 7 levels of Rolls-Royce, because almost none of this is about speed. Every single one of these cars is hand-built at Goodwood in England, takes hundreds of hours to complete, and wears a coach line down the side that is hand-painted by one man with a single brush. So let's draw the lines properly from the Ghost right up to the Boat Tail. Let's go. Level 1, the entry point, the Ghost. And I know how strange it sounds to call a car that starts around $350,000 an entry point, but that is exactly what it is. The Ghost is the cheapest way to get the spirit of ecstasy on your bonnet, and it is the model that outsells everything else Rolls-Royce makes with a roof and 4 doors. Under that endless bonnet sits a 6.75-liter twin-turbocharged V12 making 563 horsepower. But Rolls-Royce genuinely does not want you to think about that number. They want you to think about silence. This car has around 100 kilograms of sound insulation packed into it, so much that early test drivers complained it was actually disorienting and engineers had to add a tiny amount of noise back in. The suspension uses a camera that reads the road ahead and preloads the dampers before you even hit a bump, which is why owners call it the magic carpet ride. The doors are rear-hinged coach doors that close themselves at the touch of a button, and hidden inside each one is a full-size umbrella. Open the dashboard at night and over 850 tiny lights glow back at you in the shape of the word Ghost. It is the gateway drug, and once you feel it, the badge starts making sense. Level 2, the Cullinan. This is the one that keeps the lights on at Goodwood. The Cullinan is Rolls-Royce's SUV. It starts around $400,000, and it is named after the largest rough diamond ever discovered, a 3,106-carat monster pulled out of a South African mine in 1905. That name is not an accident. This is a Rolls-Royce that will genuinely go off-road, wade through rivers, and cross a desert, all while the people inside float along in total silence on the same 6.75-liter V12 and self-leveling air suspension. But the party trick is the boot. Option, the recreation module and the tailgate unfolds into 2 leather seats that face backwards with a cocktail table between them, so you can sit at the polo or the races or the edge of a mountain and watch the world in comfort. It is the most practical Rolls-Royce ever built, and for a huge slice of buyers, it is the only one they will ever need. Level 3, the Spectre. This might be the most important car in the entire 120-year history of the brand, because it is the first Rolls-Royce that runs purely on electricity. It starts a little over $420,000. It makes 577 horsepower from 2 electric motors, and it will hit 60 miles an hour in around 4.5 seconds while weighing nearly 3 tons. Think about that, a car heavier than most pickup trucks moving like a sports car in complete silence. And silence is exactly the point. Rolls-Royce quietly realized they had been chasing the perfect silent engine for a century, and electricity just handed it to them. The battery itself, all 700 kilograms of it, is used as sound insulation. It rides on 23-inch wheels, the first 2-door Rolls to wear wheels that big in nearly 100 years, and the doors alone can be filled with almost 6,000 fiber optic stars. This is the car that tells you where the whole brand is heading, because by the end of this decade, every new Rolls-Royce will be electric. Level 4, the Grand Tours, the Wraith, and the Dawn. Now we are moving away from being driven and towards driving yourself. The Wraith was the fastback coupe, the most powerful and most driver-focused Rolls-Royce of its era, with a twin-turbo V12 pushing well over 600 horsepower in its darkest form. The Dawn was its convertible twin, with a roof that folds away in what Rolls-Royce literally called a silent ballet, so quietly you can barely tell it is moving. Both cars gave us the feature that has since become the signature of the entire brand, the Starlight Headliner, a roof lined with hundreds of hand-woven fiber optic lights arranged like a night sky. Owners can request the exact constellation over a specific place on a specific date, a wedding, a birth, a first meeting, stitched into the roof by hand. Rolls-Royce stopped building both cars in 2023, which means everyone on the road is now a closed chapter, and values have only gone one way. Level 5, Black Badge. This is not a single car, it is an attitude, and it deserves its own level the same way AMG or M does at the other German brands. Black Badge is the dark, more aggressive alter ego of the range, and you can order it on the Ghost, the Cullinan, the Spectre, and the old Grand Tourers. Rolls-Royce takes the chrome that normally frames the car and darkens all of it. The famous Pantheon grille goes black. The Spirit of Ecstasy, that flying lady on the bonnet, is cast in high-gloss black chrome. Even the paint is a story. The signature Black Badge Black uses 45 kilograms of paint, sprayed, baked, and then hand-polished for hours until it looks less like a color and more like a hole in the world. They give it more power, a sharper throttle, and a special low mode for the transmission that makes it genuinely quick. This is the level for the self-made buyer who wants the most exclusive brand on earth, but absolutely does not want to look like their grandfather. Level 6, the Phantom. This is the flagship, the crown, the car every other Rolls-Royce exists beneath. The Phantom starts around $500,000, and the extended wheelbase version optioned the way these are actually ordered sales well past $600,000. It sits on a bespoke aluminum space frame that Rolls-Royce calls the architecture of luxury, built only for their flagship and nothing else. Inside is a feature called the Gallery, a sealed glass panel running the full width of the dashboard, behind which the owner can commission a genuine piece of art, an oil painting, gold-plated metalwork, silk, even a tiny mechanical sculpture. It is the quietest, smoothest, most isolating production car on the planet, with around 130 kilograms of sound deadening. When a president, a king, or a genuine billionaire wants to be driven, this is very often the car. For over a century, the phrase "the best car in the world" has been aimed at exactly one thing, and it is this. Speed is irrelevant here, presence is everything. Level 7, Coach Build. This is where Rolls-Royce stops being a car company and becomes something closer to a fashion house, or a jeweler, or a shipyard. Coach Build is the department where the ordinary lineup no longer applies, and the wealthiest people alive commission a one-off car built entirely around them, from a blank sheet of paper. It began in the modern era with the Swept Tail in 2017, a single car inspired by 1920s Rolls-Royces and classic yachts, with a seamless panoramic glass roof, reportedly costing around $13 million. Then came the car that broke every record, the Boat Tail, revealed in 2021, just 3 of them ever built, each one reportedly costing around $28 to $30 million, and each taking roughly 4 years to create. The rear deck opens up like a butterfly to reveal a hosting suite, complete with a refrigerator calibrated to the exact temperature of the owner's favorite champagne, a parasol that deploys from the tail, and a matching pair of Swiss watches designed to slot into the dashboard. Then, in 2023 came the Drop Tail. 4 cars, again in the region of $25 million each, one of them fitted with a working timepiece from one of the oldest watchmakers in the world that you can lift straight out of the dashboard and wear on your wrist. These are, by almost every measure, the most expensive new cars ever sold. And here is the thing, they do not depreciate. They appreciate like a Picasso or a rare watch, because you cannot buy another one. There is no other one. So where is the sweet spot? For someone who wants the badge and the experience without stepping into fantasy money, the Ghost at Level 1 is the smart, honest entry, and it delivers 90% of the magic. If you actually have a family and a life to carry, the Cullinan is the one you will use every single day. The Phantom is the celebration, the car you buy when you want the world to understand, without a word, that you have arrived. And everything at Level 7, the Coach Build cars, those are not really cars at all. They are statements and investments and rolling proof that at the very top, money genuinely stops being the point. So here's my question for you. If a bank transfer landed tomorrow and you could park exactly one of these 7 in your driveway, which level are you actually taking? The Sensible Ghost, the Daily Cullinan, the Electric Spectre, or are you holding out for a $30 million boat tail? Drop your level in the comments 1 through 7 and tell me why. And if this helped you understand what all that money is genuinely buying, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because I break down exactly what you are paying for at every level. No brochure fluff, no nonsense. I will see you in the next one.